Yo, what's up guys? The Insane Game Freak here to bring you another societal discussion, and this one is kind of, I don't really know how to title this as an official title. I guess you could say like introverted and extroverted, but more or less I'm kind of talking about the outgoing people and the shut-ins, and kind of just discussing it in general, and kind of why I'm more geared towards, I'm more of an introverted slash shut-in type of person instead of an extroverted slash outgoing type of person. And here's the thing about extroverted and introverted that just, I think the most basic definition you can give. Introverted people are the type of people who gain their energy from being by themselves or being alone or whatever you want to call it, whereas extroverted people gain their energy through being around other people. Essentially, if you're the type of person who likes to be at home a lot, you're probably more introverted, whereas the people who like to be out all the time are extroverted. You gain your energy from the lack of or the abundance of people, simply put. And the thing about being introverted and extroverted is that there are different types of each. I mean, there are outgoing introverts, but the way they're outgoing is less outgoing than a extroverted outgoing person. What I mean by that is, like, an introverted outgoing person is the type of person who can go out and hang out with friends and be sociable and not be the shy, quiet type, but they're also the ones that don't do that all the time. They usually take like random breaks in between and probably have to spend like a few nights by themselves. That's how an outgoing introverted person probably is versus like an outgoing extroverted person who probably can do that like all fucking week and it'd be like this cool, amazing fucking thing for them. That's how that kind of works. And there can also be shy, outgoing people, and those are like the people, those are like the shy extroverted people, the ones that like to be around people but are like too scared to say anything. You know, the ones that you always see in like the group of people and it's like, why don't you just go home? It's those people. It's like, why don't you just go home? It's like they're the type of person who likes being around people but just can't, for some reason, can't work up the nerve to say anything. I'm probably like kind of an outgoing-ish introverted person. For me personally, I can hang out with other people and I can make conversation and I can interact with people. But at the end of the day, I'm always that guy who wants to stay home 90% of the time. But if there are friends around and they want to go out and I'm not feeling like I want to stay home, which rarely happens. This is really kind of going into that whole thing with otakus and like, if you're an anime watcher, you're usually the type that always wants to stay home. I am the type who likes to stay home, but not for the obvious I watch anime reason. I mean, that is, to me, that's just one of the bonuses of being home, but that's not the reason why I stay home. The reason why I stay home a lot is, for one, most of my friends don't even live in the same state as me. And people will go, then why don't you go make a whole bunch of new friends? That's not really high on my list. I don't necessarily need 16,000 friends and shit to do that. And that's that whole thing. Like, people always want to look down on the ones who stay. And that's what I don't understand. Like, extroverted people, outgoing extroverted people, don't get shit for being extroverted. Whereas people who like to stay home and be by themselves and secluded sometimes, they get shit for that. What kind of society do we live in? And it's that whole, well, you shouldn't be by yourself. You should be out with other people. Well, here's my thing, and this is probably one of my things for not wanting. When you look at the world from being inside the house and you look at the world, or maybe when you go out occasionally into the world, you are constantly reminded of why you don't like being outside all the time. It's kind of like the people who first took like the first steps out of the caves and shit and are immediately and then are out there for like a day and a half and then just run right back inside. It's because usually they look out there and they're just kind of like, this is horrible. And that's kind of how I am. It's like the things I could do, to me, aren't worth doing. And I think the main things I'm more referring to is like all the social activities, you should hang out with a whole bunch of friends, you should go to the movies, and you should go to parties, and you should go to clubs and shit. And I'm kind of like, well, for one, I'm the type of person that I can go to the movies by myself. I don't understand this logic, by the way. What the fuck is it up with like people being like, you can't go to the movies by yourself? That makes you seem pathetic. Because I'm watching a movie by myself. Because I'm watching a movie by myself. Like, really, I don't understand that logic. So if I watch a movie by myself, I'm automatically deemed like pathetic and lonely because I watched the movie by myself. It's a fucking movie. I mean, I'm not the type of person who needs to watch movies in groups. I don't even understand what's the pro of that. You're not even paying, unless it's like a movie you've both seen before, and it's like that whole commentary on a bad movie thing, or if it's like, but if it's like a movie none of you have seen, why would you want to watch that with like 19 other people? I mean, just I mean that not like 19 other people. Well, even I can't really say that because I mean, when you go to the movie theater for a new release, you're essentially doing that. I mean, I don't know how to put it. I don't know. That point kind of falls flat on his face because it's like you technically do that by going to a fucking movie theater anyway. I'm technically not by myself, but you could say I came by myself, and it's like I don't understand why that's sad. I'm just watching a fucking movie. As far as parties and clubs go, I still do not understand the appeal of parties and clubs. Now, mind you, I'm a person who doesn't drink or smoke and doesn't, like, fuck women on a regular basis, which are, like, the three things that are promoted the most of these things. What the fuck else is there to do? Don't sit there and say I can conversate. And I'm not saying there aren't places that don't have, like, clubs and parties that are respectable and have smart people. I'm not bothered with the interaction. The interaction I get from either making videos or chatting online anyway. So it's like the one thing that they offer that I could get, I get anyway. So what the fuck do I need the other shit for? And also, I just don't view that being worth it. And some people are like, well, cool shit happens at parties. People get ridiculous and they embarrass themselves. I'm like, look, I may occasionally watch people do stupid shit on the internet, but at the same time, it's not necessarily something I'm going to take time out of my day to do as like a necessity. I don't consider that a necessity. I don't consider going to a party, getting drunk, and making horrible decisions a necessity in my life. I have yet to find one fun thing with that. And it's like, well, you were friends. And I think that's what it boils down to. It's like, there's a whole bunch of shit against people who are like quiet or people who don't like to socialize that much. And it's like, well, I don't understand why you don't want to socialize. I'm like, have you seen the world? Have you seen how people act? Have you seen the shit that you and your friends do? That is like constant reminders of reasons why I don't want to interact with you or interact with anyone around you. That's not appealing to me. Like, I don't find anything appealing about fucking going out to a club at like 8 a.m. in the morning and getting wasted. What's appealing to that? What am I supposed to do? Just forget everything that's happened to me? And that whole thing about how people don't like to. Also, because introverted people are also the types that obviously like daydream and like think about a lot of random shit that ultimately, for like right now, won't really mean anything. It's like people always like we get chastised for having those thoughts about things that technically you had no reason to be thinking about. Like. You know what some of my discussions for that matter? Like when I'm talking about like future generations and how society is right now and what's happening to it. You know, I think about shit like that, and technically that's not going to affect me tomorrow. If technically that has no influence on what I'm going to do tomorrow in terms of going to school, going to work, and coming back home and doing my normal shtick. So, to a person who doesn't understand, they're like, why the fuck are you thinking about that? It's like, because that shit kind of intrigues me. That shit is interesting to think and talk about. Not, what the fuck Tammy wore today, or not the fuck what game is coming on tonight. That's the other thing I don't seem to care about. I don't really care about football or, like, sports and shit. I don't understand that shit either. Like, I mean, as I said, it's like, for a person who's not necessarily athletically fit or someone who plays sports regularly, I still would prefer to play a sport than to watch it on television. I just find watching it on TV boring as hell. Like it's like I mean, I don't really judge it on the level of like, oh, you're stupid if you watch football, because at the end of the day, I watch Japanese cartoons. Everyone has their thing they're into. It's just like, people always wonder, like, why don't you get out more? It's like, because I don't necessarily, I'm not in my comfort zone, for one. And two, there's nothing out there worth fucking with. It's like, you always want to chastise the guy who hides in the cave, but it's like, when you look at the world that you're trying to get him out to, and it looks like shit, would you really want to come out the cave at that point? Like, in all bullshit. Like, in all seriousness. I don't know why I said in all bullshit. That kind of contradicts it. I don't understand that whole obsession with, you need to get out there and shit. Because it's not like, I don't mind going out and seeing the world. I mean, I find that part to be cool. You know, exploring new places, seeing like famous landmarks and shit. But people, not so much. Because 90% of the time, the people you end up interacting with is like wasting the fuck out of your time. And obviously, because I run off of that idealism that I have from like watching shonen anime and shit, you would think, well, maybe I should just go out there for the other 10%. The thing is that the realism of the matter, the realism of the matter. Wow, I cannot talk for shit tonight. The reality of the matter. Wow, I'm horrible. The reality of the matter is that it's not worth the time. You know, there are people I interact with in my classes. You know, there are people I interact with at work. But as far as me going out of my way to meet new people, that's just, it's not worth it. Especially when you're constantly reminded at both those same places how much people can get on your fucking nerves. Kinda is not appealing enough for me. It's like we need to get out and do things. And it's like, and people always like, you're like 21 and you act like you're 40 because you don't do anything. I'm like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, really? Like, do you want me to go out there and waste my time? Because like, and here's the thing that people don't really understand when they say shit like that. It's like, you're trying to like devalue the hell out of my life because I don't do what you do, and that's just insulting. Like, no bullshit. And extroverted people, I understand that maybe you guys like to be social and hang out with other people, but to me, there's no appeal in it. Like, what do you do? I understand the travelers. I understand the people who like to move around different places. That makes sense to me. But just the people who want to go out every night and shit and do something? Why? Why? Because at the end of the day, you still got to come back home. You still gotta stop, and you still gotta go to sleep, and eventually, and even you'll be by yourself. It's like, to me, people who are out all the time always come off as like the people who can't deal with themselves. That's the vibe I seem to get a lot. It's like, people who are always out there usually are afraid of coming in because they're afraid of being by themselves for too long. Like, I feel like people don't know how to deal with themselves, so they always go out and interact with other people. Mind you, I know it's not just like that. I'm just saying that's the vibe I always seem to get. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm here with my own emotions, and, oh, no, mentality. Like, I'm afraid to evaluate myself because that would be too fucking hard. I mean, usually when you see people with, like, issues like drinking and smoking and shit, it's usually because they didn't want to deal with themselves. I still don't see the purpose of of drinking. Like, in all seriousness, like, yeah, you drink it's like you either drink to get a buzz, but what the fuck is the buzz supposed to do? Am I supposed to just feel good? I can feel good doing other things. Like, I don't understand, what is it specifically about beer that's so goddamn appealing to get a goddamn buzz? Like, no bullshit. Like, what is that appeal? What is, I feel good for like 5 minutes and then I get a fucking headache or a migraine like the morning after. Same thing with smoking. I think people just do that shit to relieve an edge. Like they can't deal with their lives, so they need something to take the edge off. I just take that shit full force. Maybe that's weird. Maybe I'm the fucking weird one. I just don't see the point of like trying to lessen something that's gonna constantly be there. Because literally people are like, I feel like drinking and smoking are just ways of lessening the issues of life. Mind you, you can make the argument that I do that anyway by playing video games and watching anime. You know, some people just deal with life in different ways. I just think my way is probably the healthier of the ways. Mind you, you can make the argument it's fucking my eyes up. I find it a little bit more healthier than just smoking and drinking, especially considering what that leads to. Like those have like almost direct like cons to that, and I just don't find that shit appealing. The same thing with going out. Just fucking why? And, you know, maybe, and then and the sex thing. The sex thing has also always been an issue with that kind of shit, where it's like, you need to get laid. I still hate that fucking phrase, because it's like people think sex is some type of bullshit ass cure for being annoyed with humans. Like that makes it worse. Because like I could try to get laid, and if I'm the kind of person who realizes how incredibly easy it is at some times, but it's never worth it. Like, that's the problem. Like, it's retardedly easy to have sex nowadays, because every girl wants to throw it at you, and it's just not. And for one, that's not appealing as hell, and two, it just makes me hate women, because I'm just like, wow, y'all have no self-respect for yourselves. And mind you, there are other reasons to hate a gender besides that. So it's like, I'm constantly reminded of why I don't want to deal with certain types of people, or just people in fucking general, you know? Even my coworkers, I don't mind hanging out with occasionally, but I know damn well if I was forced to, I wouldn't want to hang out with them on a daily basis, like on some, let's go to the mall, let's go to the fucking clubs and shit. Even my best friend, I can honestly say I'm in the mindset where, like, sometimes I just want to be by myself. Sometimes I want to be left alone with me and my thoughts and whatever the fuck I'm doing by myself. Sometimes I don't even have to be watching anime or playing video games. That's just that whole thing with the introversion, you know. Being by myself is very calming and relaxing, and I don't have to worry about things for a while. Whereas, like, everyone wants to just forget their problems. I was like, I don't mind my problems being there. I just like to have a chill period. If I have a chill period where I can just lay down and relax, not have to worry about fucking trying. And it's just like a lot of societal things in like public areas that just bug the fuck out of me. Like looking like an asshole in a club or some shit, worrying about what other people think about you. Because even if it's not something that will hinder you to the point of stopping you from doing what you want to do, it's still there. Like, the thought is still there. The only thing you've done is just pushed it in the back of your mind. And that's part of the reason why people get drunk at clubs. Because some people can't do that, so they have to get wasted, so they just don't fucking notice it. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, there's a lot of stupid shit I gotta worry about. Like stupid shit that you shouldn't have to worry about if you're at home. Like, oh, how the fuck am I getting home if I get wasted? So I can't get wasted, so I have to fucking have all these little nagging fucking thoughts about how I should and should not act. Then I'm thinking about how stupid certain people are, because there's no way in hell you're gonna walk into a bar and think everybody's cool. You're gonna see one dumbass or one drunk motherfucker or one person that's just gonna get on your nerves. There's a lot of stupid things in these social situations that irk the fuck out of me, and I'm just kind of like, and obviously you would hear the argument like, oh dude, you think too much, but at the same time it's like, why put yourself through that? Why do I need, what is the pro? What is the pro of going out to a club or a party or some type of social event? It's gotta be something I'm into. That's just how it is, and maybe that's what it is. Like, you know, being an anime fan, you don't really have that many social events that are geared towards us except for cons. And half of them are located in states that I gotta go retardedly out of my way to get to anyway. You know, maybe there was more anime-related things, but even then, it's like even when I was in the con in North Carolina, I was only there for a few hours like each day. I wasn't even there like extended periods of time. Why? Because I don't go to cons to interact with people. I mean, I'll take pictures of costumes and look at cool cosplays, but I'm usually there to either go to panels, get shit from the dealer's room, or just fucking take pictures of cosplayers. And I'm not like a professional photographer, so that's not like at the top of my list. That's like the last thing I'll do. It's like that's the shit I do when I'm walking around, essentially. The panels in the dealer's room and just the experience of being there, it's fine for me, which I can get done by myself in like 3 hours and be perfectly fine. Now, if I was with my friends, I'd probably be there for like another 2 or 3 hours, because with friends, you have the tendency of dicking around a lot more. But, I don't know. The efficiency of being by yourself is just through the fucking roof. And it also goes into that other thing about how introverts are the type that are usually the ones who are single, because they're always by themselves and they have no chance of like interacting with another person to even get close to building a relationship. And usually they're the type of people who have like ridiculously high standards. Yeah, Shit happens, you know. Like, life is set up in a way where that's why we have online dating. Oh God. Anyways, I don't know. That's just shit that's just on my mind. I would like to hear both sides of the argument. What's the appeal of going out to clubs and partying? Because I still don't fucking see it. And the only other thing I can put on top of that is bad people being in those areas and getting, like, how there's so many shootings at clubs and how many fights that break out and shit. Like, a lot of stupid shit. I don't know. That's just me. That's me talking through some of my introversion. As I said, I can go out and socialize with people. It just never seems to be worth the trouble you go through to do it. You know, there's a lot of things that are usually running in my head. And usually, you know, that would kind of signify I'm the type that needs to be drunk in order to fucking enjoy myself. Which is stupid as hell. I have to fucking dumb down myself in order to have fun. I shouldn't have to do that. I should be able to have fun with equally like-minded people. Which is why I have more fun talking on Skype or just watching anime or playing video games than fucking talking to some fucking drunk-ass women at a goddamn bar in the middle of the night. I don't fucking know. That's just something I figured I'd share with you. That's a societal discussion. Please tell me, why does society shun kind of... I don't understand. It's just like, why does society get on the people who hide in the cave and not on the people who go out in the cave and get themselves killed? Or maybe just, like, why is it that the people who are out of the cave aren't as chastised as the people who are in the cave? I mean, obviously, we have some weird motherfuckers in this group. Like the dudes who sit at home playing World of Warcraft for like 20 hours and are like poop socking, which for those who don't know what that is, that's essentially when you like use the restroom as you're playing the game, so you don't lose any of the enjoyment out of the game. It's kind of like that whole South Park World of Warcraft thing, where like they would have like where they became like all fat and obese and ugly and shit, and their mom and like Eric's mom had to come down there with like a fucking bucket pan so they could like take a shit while playing the game, so they wouldn't have to get up and move and shit. It's that same kind of logic. Like, it's that, you know, we got, you know, this part of society is kind of shunned purely because of the things that come out of it. Because you have the people who don't want to be bothered with anyone else. You have the people who are assumed to be stuck up. You have a lot of different types of people who are in here. And some people are like just not social for totally different reasons than mine. Like, some people are just not social because they hate everything. And mind you, I hate a large part of society, but I could still go out if I wanted to. And sometimes I still do. I mean, hell, I still go out. It's not usually the top thing on my list. Like on a Saturday, I'm usually sleeping in. Like, fuck the club. I'm going to bed, or I'm going to be up doing some anime gaming, random mind thought shit. But I'm rambling at this point, so please tell me your thoughts and comments and video responses in the section below. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the support. Life's a game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.